One of the wonderful things about RV life is being able to go and explore different places as you travel around the United States. It's pretty hard to do that if you don't have a vehicle to be able to go explore with. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to get set up to flat tow a vehicle behind a drivable motorhome. So stay tuned.
We are Charity, Ben, Dakota, and Trinity. We decided we didn't want to wait for a life of adventure. So in 2017, we bought our first RV and set off to live a life of travel in the USA. We've visited over 38 states in 3 years and have many more to go. Follow along to learn all the best places to see, RV and travel tips, and much more.
So before we jump into today's video, which is going to be awesome because we're going to walk you through a lot of stuff when it comes to flat towing, we want to give a huge thank you to those of you that have jumped in and decided to support us on Patreon. It really helps us to keep videos like this coming to you week in and week out. Plus, we have been working with some of our partners for some awesome monthly giveaways exclusive to our Patreon group. So you can check that out at the link below.
So today we are going to talk about how to flat tow. But first, we're going to tell you why we got rid of the car dolly.
Yeah, it was a pain in the butt. Couple of reasons that we started off with a car dolly instead of a flat tow vehicle. And that was because we just wanted to get on the road as quickly as possible. The RV that we purchased when we first bought our RV, the guy that we bought it from had a dolly that he threw in with the deal. And so we just were wanting to get going and get on the road, and it was a really inexpensive way.
We were newbies, we didn't know any better.
You can tow any front wheel drive vehicle on a car dolly, so that makes it simple. You don't have to try to look at vehicles and say which ones will work and which ones won't. If it's front wheel drive, front wheels up and you're good to go. So it's simple.
So we towed our little yellow Mazda.
We did, and we ran into a lot of snags along the way.
Some of the reasons that using a car dolly was difficult, one of the many reasons is that the tie straps will come loose.
And so that's just something with car dollies. You have to check those straps frequently, pretty much every time you stop for fuel, and you'll find that they do loosen up. And so you have to make sure that you're tightening those at every single stop.
Another con is having to find a place to put the dolly when you're at a campsite. You really have no place to set the camp chairs. It just takes up a lot of space.
A lot of campgrounds will actually not even let you have that car dolly in your campsite. And so you have to find where it is that they want trailers or those types of apparatuses, and it's usually in a whole nother part of the campground. And so you're trying to navigate where you're supposed to put that versus where that your campsite is, and then you got to take your vehicle off the dolly, and it's just kind of a big hairy ordeal, and we didn't want to deal with that anymore.
And schlepping that big old dolly around is heavy.
It is
hard
heavy
on your back.
So, going to a campground where then you have a back in sight versus a pull through, you've got to do this whole process. And so what that means is, and what we found ourselves doing, was paying that extra for a pull through site more often because we didn't want the inconvenience of having to drop the car dolly off the back of the RV. And so pull through sites was what we ended up using more. And a lot of campgrounds, you're paying more for that convenience.
So in 2021, if you're watching this, you realize that getting a reservation is hard, let alone trying to get a premium pull-through campsite that everybody wants is getting more and more difficult. So
lots of reasons that we decided to ditch our car dolly and go with a vehicle that can be flat towed. So let's talk real fast about the different kinds of vehicles that can be flat towed, because not all vehicles can be flat towed without damaging the drivetrain components. So there are some that can and some that can't.
And there are some that have less steps to take to be able to flat tow.
Right. So we're going to talk in just a few minutes about the vehicle that we flat tow, and then we'll talk about how to get set up. But first, to be able to ascertain if the vehicle you own currently can be set up for flat towing, you can check, we'll put a link below, there's what's called a dinghy guide. And these are updated from year to year based on the year of your vehicle. So you can check that out at the link below, or just do a quick online search too and see if the vehicle you currently have is one of those that can be set up for flat towing or not. But we will tell you this. we researched a ton because we bought the Jeep behind us specifically for the ease of being able to flat tow it. So we decided to go with the Jeep Wrangler because out of all of the vehicles that can be flat towed, this is the one that has the fewest amount of steps in the process of connecting and disconnecting. And so we're able to connect, disconnect very, very quickly.
Yeah,
at
some
campgrounds.
take like what, 20 steps to go through 20 procedures to be able to get
The
in.
Trailhawk is like 19 steps.
Yeah,
The Jeep Trailhawk is 19 steps that you have to go through to then have it truly in neutral, be able to flat tow.
Our Wrangler is what? How many steps? 3 or 4?
It's like 5, I think I
Like
counted.
5 total? Yeah.
Right. So very, very easy to flat tow.
So what things are we going to need to be able to flat tow?
So to be able to flat tow a vehicle, you're going to need some basic things. Number one, you're going to need what's called a base plate installed onto the tow vehicle. So this is a plate that actually attaches to the frame of the vehicle to be able to pull it along safely as you're going down the road.
And it's fairly easy to install. My dad and I were able to pull off the front bumper and install that base plate. You can have it done at a service center, but it's a job that can be done by yourself.
This particular vehicle made it very easy to do by yourself. So you can check the steps that it takes to install a base plate on the vehicle that you're considering. We purchased our base plate from eTrailer, and we'll put a link for them below. No affiliate, just we like their products. And then on eTrailer, the other thing that's very nice is they have a lot of install videos or install instructions on how to do the install, which is why that we just attacked that ourselves because it was very, very easy. So the next thing that you're gonna need is you're gonna need a tow bar. So the tow bar attaches your tow vehicle to your RV. And we actually were able to pick one up secondhand on Facebook Marketplace. So that saved us quite a bit of money by being able to purchase that one used.
Okay, stop. Oh, there it is. It's like freedom in a cup. Right? All right, we're gonna go hook up the Jeep. And then the next thing that you need is a tow bar. So we've got this tow bar from Blue Ox. There's a couple different manufacturers out there, including Roadmaster, Blue Ox. We preferred to go with Blue Ox. We found ours on Facebook Marketplace. So be sure to check on Facebook Marketplace in your area to find used. So I did purchase a 10,000 pound rated dual hitch receiver from Roadmaster. And what this does is it allows you to have a bike rack and the Blue Ox tow bar. So you want to make sure you get the right rated one. So this one's pretty heavy duty, 10,000 pounds. So now I can actually pull the Blue Ox over, then connect up to the Jeep and also have the bike rack. And one thing that you're going to want to make sure you do is get Hitch Locks that have a key to connect these up. And so that way you're always of peace of mind that everything's locked up and secure, and no one's going to take your Jeep or anything while you're at the Walmart parking lot. So I'm going to have some links below in the description to all of the locks that I recommend in the hitch receiver that I purchased. The next thing you're going to need is wiring set up to connect the Jeep to the RV. So we actually had a mobile RV tech connect this up for us, and this particular one has a charge line built in. So when the Jeep is connected up to the RV, it's actually trickle charging the battery, because on the Jeep you have to have the key in the auxiliary position. So what that does is allows the steering wheel to turn. And there's several years of Jeep, you'll have to research that in the dinghy guide, but that you don't need to actually turn the key to allow it to unlock the steering wheel. But for this 07 Jeep that we have, it does require you to turn the key one click, and it does take a little bit of battery while it's on. So you do have to trickle charge the Jeep. So this part goes into the Jeep, this goes into the RV, and that allows you to have all your lights, your brake lights and everything, blinkers. The next thing you'll need to have are 2 safety cables. So this allows you to hook up to the base plate here, and then you crisscross them onto the RV. So that way, if something does come loose, there are some safety cables that are holding the Jeep connected to the RV. So the next thing that you will need is an auxiliary braking system. The one thing that we have is a Blue Ox Patriot 3. And looking back at it, I do not recommend going that route because it's such a pain in the butt to connect up. And every once in a while it does air out going down the road, so you have to stop and reset it. So don't do that if you don't have to. What we would recommend doing is going with like an Air Force One that connects an air hose from your RV to your Jeep, or the other one is the Invisibrake that's installed under the seat in your tow vehicle. So definitely check out those 2 options. Do not get the Patriot 3.
We hate it.
Yeah, the way the Patriot 3 works is it goes between your seat and the pedals, and it goes off of inertia. So whenever you brake, it senses you're braking and it presses on the brake. The problem with that is as you're kind of going on bumpy roads, and it'll sense that and it'll start braking. And so we actually warped our rotors on our Jeep because of that. So don't recommend that.
So real fast, while Ben is getting on some gloves, and we're gonna show you how we actually get this connected and rolling down the road, I wanna talk about how much that this cost us. Now, if you've watched some of our other videos about just RV life in general, you probably know that we maintain a position of not going into debt for things and of making purchases wisely. So all in on this particular setup, we were close to about $2,500. Now that included everything, and we saved on some costs by installing the base plate ourselves and then purchasing the tow bar secondhand. And then also we were able to do some work in trade for having the wiring set up by a professional RV tech, where we helped him with some website stuff. So we were able to do some work in trade where we both mutually benefited from that, and it helped save us some of those costs on this. Traditionally, this type of setup runs between $4,000 to $6,000, depending upon kind of the area you're in, maybe what the going labor rates are at different areas that you're at, all of those types of things. So you can definitely save some costs by maybe looking for equipment that isn't new, or somebody that is not going to be RVing any longer. Those types of things, you can definitely save some money that way.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you how we hook up everything to the Jeep. So the first thing, and the most important thing that you wanna do, is make sure you have coffee. Okay, so the next thing that you wanna do is, I actually have a Husky bag that I put everything in. So all the pins, there's little parts, all the safety cables, the charge line, everything goes in this bag and then into the RV. So the first thing that we are going to do is hook up the Blue Ox tow bar. And what you want to do is make sure that the bolt side is up, the top of the bolt, like this, not like this. And then what you'll do is, I like to get kind of in these between my legs, and then I'll place this one into here. So what these are is, these come with the base plate, so you can remove them and put them back in. And that's nice if you have your Jeep unhooked and you don't want to hit your leg on these, and you can unhook them really quick and easy. So put them back in place, you just kind of pop them in place until they click. And so what I'll do is just push this bar and extend this a little bit, then place it right in here. So one thing you want to make sure you do is wear gloves while you're doing this, because you can pinch yourself while you're putting the pin in, or so just wear some gloves, get some heavy duty gloves. I'll put some heavy duty ones down in the description that I have that I love. And so you'll take this pin, pop it right in place, and then you want to make sure you get some of these locking pins here so they kind of lock down in place. So I'm going to go ahead and place this in, lock it down in, then come over to this other one, pull it out a little bit, place it on here, make sure the bolt side is up, put the pin in, grab this other one, and then slide it in place, lock it. The tow bar is now set up. Next thing I'm going to do is hook up the cable for the lights and the charge line. So I'm going to plug this into the Jeep, but first thing I want to make sure that you know is you want to make sure you keep dielectric grease on here. Then I'm going to go ahead and plug this right into here. It can be a little bit tricky getting it in, but once you get it in, it kind of locks in place, and then this flap locks this in so it doesn't pull out. So this is going to go over the top of the tow bar. Then this is going to lock in place inside the RV, in the RV. So once it locks in place, this flap, you can see there's like a little piece here that it locks in. So as you push it in, the flap comes down over top and locks it in so it doesn't pull out. So you make sure you lock it in all the way, and that you push this piece down and that you can pull on it and it's not going to come out. Next thing you want to do is connect up the safety cables. Make sure you crisscross them. So I'm going to hook this into the RV, crisscross this over to the other side of the Jeep, and then hook up this one on this side. This goes over on the other side. Next thing you want to do is connect up the breakaway for the auxiliary braking system. So if the Jeep happens to, be rolling down the road next to you and you look out the window and, hey, that Jeep looks familiar, and it's yours, the auxiliary braking system will actually press on the brakes, stopping the Jeep so it doesn't continue along the trail. So you want to make sure you hook this up for safety reasons. That's kind of the main reason that you have this, is that way your tow vehicle doesn't keep rolling down the road if it does come disconnected from the tow bar. So the last step is to connect up the auxiliary braking system inside, since we don't have a system that's connected up inside the Jeep already.
So before that, I walk you through how we install this Patriot, which is the auxiliary braking system we use. I want to give you a quick note as to why are we still using something that we wouldn't recommend. And that is because this particular Jeep, we love it, it's been great, but we do know that at some point, probably in the next 2 or 3 years, that we'll want to go with a different Jeep. And because of that, we don't feel it would be wisdom financially to invest in putting a permanently installed braking system in a vehicle that we know we're not going to keep long term. So the Patriot does do its job. It does work for what it needs to do. It's just not what we would do if we had to do it over. So we'll continue to use it until that we upgrade this to a different vehicle that we know we're going to keep longer term. And then we'll upgrade the braking system at that point to something that's a permanent install. So this step would not need to be done in the future. Okay, so real fast, we're going to go through the actual procedure to put this into neutral. So super simple. First step, key on, foot on the brake. Next, bring the transmission down to neutral, and then put the transfer case into neutral. Then,
oh, she's rolling.
So then the next thing is to start the engine, and then put it into drive, and make sure that you're not moving forward, that you're truly in neutral. And then after putting it into drive, the key goes off. This part is important, so that the engine is not running. After that, you can slide the automatic transmission into park. And then the key needs to stay in the accessories position so that the steering wheel can move back and forth and you're not pulling against the steering wheel. We made a rookie mistake once, never again. So this is the Blue Ox Patriot 3. We got this on eTrailer. You can also pick these up on Amazon, so we'll throw a link in the description below. Now, this is a nice braking system if you want something that's portable from vehicle to vehicle. So if you maybe have several vehicles that you know you're gonna want to be towing and you wanna set those up, this is portable. You can pull it out and put it in a different vehicle. So this is what we're using right now. And then I'm gonna put this is gonna go on the floor. This is going to attach to the actual brake pedal. And then this is going to plug into a power outlet so that there's constant power. This is another reason why we need that charge line, is because this is going to need a constant power source to work properly. So we'll get this put in. So first thing I'm gonna do is actually attach this to the brake pedal. Okay, so I'm attached to the brake pedal there. Now the next thing that's tricky is because this can't be sitting against the brake the whole time, to make sure that the seat is just so it can't be pushing against it, but it needs to be there so this can push back against it if it needs to. So the next thing I'm gonna do is actually plug it in. And then before that I actually power it up, this is the cable that communicates to that breakaway, so that if this would break away from the tow bar, it's gonna mash the brake pedal to the floor. So I'm gonna push the power button. The lights go back and forth. That tells me it's ready to be set up. I'm gonna push the setup button and it's going to go through its setup process of mashing the brake down to the floor. When just the power button's on solid, that means we're ready to go. Now, this sits in here really wonky. So we actually have some stuff that we stick beside it to keep it from moving around on the floorboard. This is why I can't wait till the day that we can do something different, but it works for now. And we kind of decided that in 2021, this was going to be our year of doing more with what we already have. So that's the motto I'm going with on this braking system.
Hello, my lovely dear.
So, hello. We always do a light check real fast before that we depart. So we just use our phones. And Ben's inside. He's gonna turn on the RV and we're just gonna double check and make sure all the lights are working. So,
Okay, left blinker.
Oh, hold on. Yep, got left.
Okay, right blinker.
Got right.
Sweet. Brake.
Got brakes.
Sweet.
All right. You should be good to go. That is how that we set up our vehicle, and hopefully some tips for you guys on how to set up a vehicle to flat tow behind a drivable motorhome.
Plus, in today's age, in 2020, if you're watching this, you realize, or 21, yeah. So in today's age,
Ben lost a whole year in there, right? Somewhere.
Well, I guess we're not counting that year.
Right. We hope that you got some value from this video, hopefully learned something. If so, please give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to see more videos with RV tips and tricks, hacks, things like that, check those out right over here. And if you would like to see videos with fun places to go and kind of some family travel vlog items, you can check those out right over here. Until next time, we'll see you on the road.